Good evening and welcome to A World Awakening. Uh, this is going to be a real wake up for me tonight because I have an absolutely lovely young woman joining us, someone I had the privilege to meet not very long ago up at the farm in Harrisville. And then we did the Ocean State Paracon together and got to know each other a little bit over a very adventurous weekend. And her name is Amanda Millette. And she has a tremendous, I think it's TikTok. So out of the loop. I don't know anything. The only thing I know about TikTok is it's the sound my clock makes. Um, but apparently it's a big thing. And she has a big following, and she is a paranormal investigator. She has actually many talents and abilities. And so I'm really looking forward to welcoming her to the show tonight and allowing her to tell her story, some of which I don't even know myself yet. But before we bring Amanda in, Bill, come up and see me for a minute. Bill. I knew he fell asleep on the damn keyboard. I knew it. I knew it. Oh, there you are. Oh, there you are.
Good evening.
Good evening. Oh, you remember to turn your mic on. Very good.
I
It's
did.
so good. Really a shame that
That's
the
why I
host
was.
has to prompt the producer. Turn your
That's why.
mic on. You're on mute.
That's why I was delaying a little bit before you said, "Come on, Bill," because I want to make sure I was unmuted.
That you weren't on mute.
I was on mute.
I know. And now you had to make sure that you weren't. That you, okay.
I got yelled at the last time. Unmute. No, I'm kidding.
It's what I do. It's what I do. So
what's
I
happening?
just got back from Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, Michigan Paracon. Remember, we've had Brad Blair and Tim Ellis on the show to promote it. We did that last year. And then you reran it again just recently, which was really good. Um, and it was, as always, an absolutely marvelous event. I just felt like this year it almost got too big. There were literally so many people there that there were people that came to see me that never saw me that weekend, never found where I was, what room I was in. We were dispersed all over the venue because there were just so many vendors and so many guests, and it was a really big deal. But we all kind of got lost in the fray. And so I don't know. I'll just have to be more of a social butterfly in the future. But I was kind of stuck behind my table for, pretty much the whole weekend. Um, but it was great. It was wonderful. And we saw something in the sky that night. Somebody said, "Oh, that's a comet." Okay, the thing came right at us. It had firelight shooting out of the back of it. It was as bright as it could be. And as it got close to the earth, it illuminated the whole earth orange. And I heard some guy say, "Oh, that's a comet." And I just said, "If that's a comet, we're all dead." you know, that was not a comet. You can call it whatever you want to call it, darling. Whatever you want to call it, but that was not a comet. So that was exciting. That was wonderful. And some people got film footage of it coming in, which was really great.
Oh, I want to see a clip of that.
Well, so do I, but nobody has sent it to me yet. But I did see it while we were outside. They showed it to me. I don't remember. I don't remember. Everything's a blur. I don't remember how many weeks ago I met Amanda. I don't remember. I did go to Scotland this summer. I know we've talked about that several times.
Scott Allen's show starts next Wednesday.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited. That's so great. Yay for him.
Paranormal Project, 7:00 Eastern. Wednesday.
Yeah. So my head is spinning. I have to turn around. I just came back from Georgia where Peanut stayed while we were in the Sault Ste. Marie. Spent 4 days with her Grammy and her Auntie Chrissy and their little dog Sammy, who is her boyfriend, by the way. And now we have to turn around and go back because my sister just discovered that she has to have surgery, and somebody's got to be there to take care of mom while
Wow.
Christine recuperates. So it's me. It's literally the only week off that I have in the month of September. I'll be traveling the whole rest of the month. So I got to squeeze in on a World Awakening this week, and to have it be with Amanda brings me joy. Now, one of the things that she is very well known for is her research and her investigations around the Lizzie Borden case. And she has developed, I think, an extremely plausible theory and may have actually proved that Lizzie didn't do it. I always thought if Lizzie did it, she had a really good reason.
Mm.
And so I was okay with it. Bless her heart. But Amanda's going to tell us the story based on all of her research and from her perspective and what conclusions she has drawn. So try not to fall asleep on your keyboard. In fact, you won't be able to fall asleep on your keyboard because she will charm the living daylights out of you.
Well,
And
she
what?
was awesome. She was awesome on when
Yeah.
we did, George and I did
Yes.
Dead Air when you were all at the farmhouse.
Yes.
And
she's awesome every minute of every day. She is a goddess.
And at the same time, Cody was getting all kinds of stuff outside. Then Satori's phone. I was like, what is going on?
I know. It was, yeah, we'll talk about the time.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the farm too, because you know, it was just such an extraordinary conglomeration of energies in the house that night. We had Tim Weisberg with us. We had Cody and Satori with us. Of course, Jacqueline was there. I mean, it was just an amazing group. Ken was there, Dawn, his wife, Julie DeMay. I mean, it was a really, really good group of people. And we got some amazing, just mind-blowing. Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it on the show. And if you have any questions or anybody else does, you know what to do. You know, it's not our first rodeo. Just pop them on the screen and we'll do what we can to answer them.
Why don't we bring Amanda on?
There she is. And there she is. Look at her. How lovely. You'd be very sweet to her, man.
I am. Or I'm going to get in trouble on Halloween.
That's right. Oh.
Anyway, have a great show to both of you.
Thank you, darling. Bye. Welcome to A World Awakening. And don't be nervous at all. You are perfect at everything that you do. And I saw how you got nervous having to speak at the Ocean State Paracon, and you blew it out of the park. Yeah. Unmute. You must unmute.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. So I yelled at Bill and he wasn't muted. And I'm going to let you slide because you're Amanda.
You're perfect as I'm talking with no sound.
Yes. Oh, you're so sweet. Okay. So you have a very interesting background, my dear. And for those that don't know jack about your story, the work that you do, what you have discovered, where you're going, why don't you just give everybody a basic outline of, what motivates you, what your intentions are, all the good stuff, and just run with it. This is your show.
All right. Well, maybe I'll start from the beginning-ish. So I sort of also grew up in a house that was haunted, but it was only the first 4 years of my life, which there's a reason for that. So sorry, now I'm nervous. So it was a house in New Hampshire from 1791. And one night, I was 4 years old. My brother was 5. One day my mom just sort of got this weird feeling. She's like, I feel like we should go grocery shopping in the evening, not in the morning. She just had this weird feeling, which was not easy to do with kids. They get tired, right?
Yeah.
So we all got in the van and we went out grocery shopping. 15 minutes after we left, a drunk driver was street racing, crashed into a car, and then it flew into our living room. where we all would have been sitting watching TV.
Yeah.
So we all would have died. So it's just interesting. So I feel like you can relate to sort of like intuition and just like messages in that sense. So yeah, would have grown up in a haunted house if it wasn't destroyed tragically. But yeah, apparently there was like a woman who would sit on our beds and walk around, but who knows what happened with that. But so that was sort of the beginning of that. More or less what got me interested in the paranormal was my dad was really interested in it. And unfortunately, he did pass away a few years after the house got destroyed and everything.
I'm sorry, honey.
Thank you. It's kind of
way too young to lose your dad.
Yeah.
Way too young.
It's it's like a lot of this tragic history, but I think that a lot of the investigators I've seen that have really good ethics have also experienced tragedies, and that's a driving force to want to communicate with the other side. Is
Yes.
We want to know that it's there. We want to give a voice to the voiceless if possible. But I didn't really get into it too much until a couple of years ago when I went to the Lizzie Borden house for the first time. It was my first overnight investigation ever. I went into it assuming that Lizzie did it. Everyone, we grew up in New England. You hear the nursery rhyme. I'm sure you heard
Lizzie
it too.
Borden took an axe, gave her father 40 whacks. Yep.
Yeah. So, we just sort of assumed that, and I can't even explain, like, that night was just one of the best of my entire life. It was just, there was a shadow figure in the basement. There was, like, I can't explain the energy that was in that house, kind of similar to the farm. I want to say it correctly here. It just blew me away. And then the next day I visited Lizbeth's grave, and it was like a spring day, and in like New England where finally the sun comes out.
Yes.
And it's just beautiful. And there's literally, I have a video that's just like, everything just like goes away as I'm approaching the grave. And there's a ladybug on her grave. And I just looked at it and I said, I don't know why, but I feel like you're innocent, and I feel like it's up to me to tell people. But at the time, I didn't have any sort of platform at all. Like, I had maybe 1,000 followers on Instagram. That was it. I had no way to do it, but it was something inside me was telling me, this is your job. And it's just so strange that it ended up being my job. I'm getting like goosebumps telling my own story here, but it's
no, but that's good. You're supposed to, because that's when and it's really visceral. It's real, and it's right. It's your right path.
Yeah, it's like I knew that you would be able to relate, so I feel comfortable sharing this with you.
I'm Bathsheba's great defender, and I have no way of proving if she did what she was accused of, but nobody else proved it either. And I just don't think that you should accuse somebody of murder unless you've got some really significant evidence. And so you and I are very similar in that approach. I feel very protective of her, and you feel very protective of Lizbeth.
I also feel protective of Bathsheba and Sherman, and I appreciated that when you were watching that episode that I didn't realize you were watching, they played a clip of me being like, oh, she's innocent, and we need to donate to have her headstone put.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. So it's just another thing we have in common. But just so many things just pointed to the direction of me being the one to have to share it. Because as soon as I started talking about it, I never went on TikTok to be like TikTok famous or whatever that actually means.
Or whatever that actually is.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know what it means. But it was like as soon as I made like a joke video, and it went extremely viral. Like right now, I think it has like 7.5 million views on it. And then all these young people who were on TikTok were like, who is Lizzie Borden? And I could have just Googled it and just like put out false information online, but I was like, no, this is my opportunity. Because I remembered when I visited the grave, I took 10 days off and I read as much as I could in that span and before I started talking about it. All those videos also went viral. It was a little insane. It was like everyone was demanding to know more. So every day I was sort of dedicating all this time and energy to it. Of course, now it's been almost 2 years now, so I have, I know even more now, but I just felt like this responsibility. And it's just weird how many things aligned. Like, I randomly went to the courthouse one day where she was tried, and I like just sort of went to the outside, looked at it, was like, wow, this is crazy. And then some lady went over to my car, knocked on my window, and I was like, oh no, am I in trouble for parking here? And she was like, you can go inside and see if you can go upstairs to check out where she was tried. And I was like, no way. So I went in there and they're like, well, you're going to have to ask the office of whatever it was. So I was like, okay, how do I do that? So they led me down there and I waited like 20 minutes and they came back from their lunch break and they're like, I guess that would be okay. And the guy in security who took me up there was like, we have film crews and everything all the time trying to get up here, but you just happen to come at the exact right time. It was absolutely insane. I was like, okay. So I got to sit right where she sat.
Wow.
It's just crazy things like that. And like her house, Maplecroft, I was one of the last people to be able to investigate the house before it became a private home. Just so many like strange circumstances, just like it just put me there,
Mm-hmm.
It's like I didn't really choose this. It just sort of happened. But
well, maybe I think sometimes the universe tasks us with things. It chooses us. I think in some ways the farm chose my family. I don't know why. And perhaps there will never be an explanation for why it felt like our destiny to me. But what you're doing is your destiny too. And that's why it feels so comfortable, why you're so comfortable in your skin about doing what you do and disseminating so much information about this, because it's your job, because you're supposed to. And you have some spirit connection with Lizzie Borden that is actually a beautiful thing. And in fact, if you care to extrapolate it out even further, I think it's entirely plausible that you could be her reincarnated, come back to prove her innocence to the world.
Some people comment that and say that.
Nothing would surprise me. Nothing. I've lived long enough that it very little surprises me anymore.
It's like people will comment that, and I'm almost tempted to sometimes be like, oh, I sometimes think that too, but I would just hate for people to think I'm making it up. But yeah, it's a little weird. I do look a little bit like Elizabeth and Emma put together. People are like, you look kind of weirdly like, this is strange.
Yes.
But
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
And and both of them lovely, absolutely lovely, and so are you. But you give her voice. You give her voice, I think, in a way. I think that perhaps not her reincarnation, but a conduit for her on this plane of action.
I try, and I'm glad that I was able to tell her that this has been what I'm doing. And I was telling her that a lot of young people, it's becoming very normalized that you're innocent, that you're a good person, that you had animals and you made homemade chocolate cake for your servants. You gave out candy to children. Like, you founded the Animal Rescue League of Fall River. Like, you're a good person. And it seemed like she was responding well. So I wasn't like asking her questions like, oh, did you do it or anything? I wasn't asking her a thing. I was just talking to her. I actually did ask her something. I was like, there's a photo out there. People think it's you and you're holding a cat. Was it you? And she said she did have a cat. So I wasn't sure because she had dogs, but
yeah,
it was very warm and light in there. It was like going to your Auntie Borden's house. But yeah, so I should probably talk about why I think that she's innocent.
Yes.
So that was the intro. So when you actually look at the case, the only reason people think that she did it was because it's a juicier story. At the time, what would sell newspapers would be this proper Victorian woman from a prominent family murdering her father and stepmother. Of course, it's going to sell more than a stranger came in or someone else maybe did it.
Well, Andrew Borden was not a really popular figure. He had enemies. And
Yes.
I mean, she was still, I can't remember her exact age, but she was still quite young. That day, I don't know if you're aware of this, but that particular day, there was a huge party, a big cookout and a festival for all the police in the area at Rocky Point in Rhode Island. And so that's where they all were. If anybody, wanted to preconceive of offing Andrew, that would have been the perfect day to do it.
So one of the points that I made in my lecture was that there's more signs that it's a planned murder. And it's like, oh, well, Lizzie didn't have like a great alibi. She didn't have a, it's like if she planned it, if she was the one who did it and she planned it, making sure that the annual police picnic that everyone went to was on that day, you'd think she'd give herself a better alibi.
Yeah.
Like she couldn't account for where she was exactly at all times, but there's also a reason for that. But she would have only had 15 minutes to kill her father and then hide all the evidence. There was no murder weapon ever found.
No.
Ever. So how is that even possible? Yeah. But yeah, the basic reason people think she did it was it's a juicier story. Yellow journalism would print absolute lies about her, saying that she, killed animals and everything, which her history shows the complete opposite. She loved animals. She founded the Animal Rescue League of Fall River. She had a special seat in her carriage outfitted for her dogs. Like she loved animals. But yeah, they say that she's the only one who had the opportunity to do it, but the side door was unlocked and unattended to for a good amount of time. And the front door, which they always say, oh, there's elaborate locks and everything. But the front door, the lock, if you didn't close it just right, it's a spring lock. If you didn't close it just right, it wouldn't lock. And there's a closet right next to it that is very large. I have been inside of it. I was like, can I have the key to that closet?
Yeah, I've been inside of it too. Yeah.
You have?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
I'd be very interested to see you in that house.
I was there with John Zaffis and something really spooked him up on the third floor and he was touched and he's like, okay, we're out of here now. Down we went. That man can move down a set of stairs pretty fast when he needs to. But yeah, I've been there several times and knew Leanne, rest her soul. She was lovely, lovely woman. And there was something about that house that, I don't know, I was very drawn to the carriage house. I really loved the carriage house on the property. But the house itself, also the point that I wanted to make is that back in the day, when this all happened, it was very unusual for people to lock their front doors. I mean, people had locks on their doors and stuff, but I mean, I grew up where we never locked our doors, not ever at the farm, not ever. We didn't even know where there were keys to the doors. So they never got locked. And that was true for many, many people, especially if they lived in a relatively close-knit community where everybody just watched out for everybody else. And, it was an affluent community, that part of town. All the homes around it are splendid, absolutely beautiful, and a relatively safe community.
That's a really good point. Why were there so many locks and why was there a barbed wire fence?
Yeah. Yeah, that was strange.
That's more
Seems to
about
me
keeping
he wanted to
something
keep
out.
somebody out.
Yeah, that's so
Exactly.
funny. We just said the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like so scattered, but I hope I make my points clear and everything. Lizzie was her father's favorite daughter.
Yeah.
Like she basically had him wrapped around his finger. Very unlikely that she would want him dead. When he married Mrs. Borden, Abby Borden, I say their full names or Mrs. Borden because it was proper to do that. It's actually rude to say just the first name.
Yeah.
And I always tell people when I go there on investigations to make sure they do that. And I believe it was Mrs. Borden confirmed that, yes, that's like very, very rude that everyone just goes in there and they're like, hey, Abby, hey, Andrew. Very rude. Anyway.
Yeah, I use their whole full proper names when I'm in the house too.
Yeah.
And nobody ever suggested that we do that. I just did it because sign of respect.
Yeah. I wish sometimes there was like a little, ways to be respectful. But that's what I like it so much about the farm, where it's, especially now, where it's very clear you need to be respectful.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he was very frugal, but he sent her off on a grand tour of Europe, gifted her a sealskin cape. He didn't have a wedding band for when he married Mrs. Borden, but he did keep a ring on his pinky that Lizzie gave him. And when she got back from Europe, she actually got in before when he was still sleeping. And then he woke up in the morning and realized that she's home. He like barreled up the stairs like 2 steps at a time because he was so excited to see her. Mm-hmm. It seems more to me that he had a soft spot for her and vice versa. Like it just doesn't seem very likely that she would want to do that. Mm-hmm. And people will say, oh, even with that, she could have killed him for money. He was really only worth $300,000. I mean, that was money
a lot
back
of money
then.
Back then, yeah.
I mean, it was a decent amount, but like the Durfees were worth like, oh my goodness, what is it, like 20 million then?
Yeah.
I need to do the calculations for what that would be now, but that's it's not like they were the richest in town, which is a common misconception. That, he was very, very rich and she must have done it to get his money.
Yeah, no, the richest people in town lived right on the bay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was even, the last time I was at the Historical Society, they're really trying to tell people, like, they were a middle-class family. They were not, like, it was a prominent name, the Borden name, but it wasn't, that's why it was sensationalized, because it was just a normal family that this happened to. Dr. Dolan testified.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask you. Go on about that.
Why are we doing this? Anyway,
I don't know. It's weird.
It is weird. Because we're twins. He testified that the wounds appeared to be struck by a left-handed person, and Lizzie was right-handed. I feel like I could just say that in case closed, but
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty significant.
Yeah. Well, he did have his enemies in town. And he was not known for being particularly amicable in business dealings and stuff like that.
He was not kind to his tenants. He was very harsh.
Yep. He had enemies. And instead of looking for, evidence that might lead to someone outside the house, or to perhaps find out if he had been threatened in any way, they kind of took the easy way out, didn't they?
She was a scapegoat.
Yep.
So there were several reports of a strange-looking man at that time outside of the Borden home, around the house, around the time of the murders, and the police couldn't find them. So they were like, well, they needed someone to pin it on because the town was outraged. They were...
Yeah. Well, it was a gruesome
there was a lot
murder.
of pressure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they basically, the biggest thing that they decided on, it was definitely Lizzie, was when they first met her, they just didn't think she acted womanly enough. I mean, she was a 27-year-old spinster after all, but
Yeah.
was it 27? Never mind. But
Yeah,
she
to
was
me,
unmarried.
I don't know. I always think of her as being a child because, I'm old. But yes, no, she was an adult, when this happened. And it is, I always just think of her. But she was very diminutive. I mean, she was, rather small. Bathsheba was too, very petite, I guess the word would be.
Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, on her off time, she would teach Sunday school to the children of Chinese immigrants. She was a part of the fruit and flower mission who would bring fruit and flowers to sick people. She was active in her community. She spent a lot of time with charity, and the same was true after the murders and everything. This doesn't make any sense why she would do that.
Isn't that strange too? Because I didn't know that. And there's a whole chapter in, there are several chapters of spirit in the house that would come through the house at night when we were children and tuck us in, kind of lean over. And she was very warm. There was no cold or nothing, no obnoxious odor. She smelled of flowers and fruit.
I was actually thinking that as soon as you started talking, because I have read your books. That's a weird coincidence.
Isn't it? Yeah. Well, there are no coincidences.
Right. I was going to say that.
No, it's all part of, Amanda, I really do feel like, those of us that get it, those of us that work in this genre and this field, we're connected to each other. There are just strange little tendrils that seem to just reach out and connect and bring us together in weird and wonderful ways. I was so thrilled to meet you, and you were so thrilled to meet me. And I was like, but I feel like I've known you for a long, long time. And I think you're about half my age. So it couldn't have been that long on this plane of action, but I turned to Julie and I said, she has an old soul. And she's like, yep, she does. She has an old soul. So we picked you out of the crowd right away.
It is strange how, like, I felt, I already told you this, but when I was reading I would read your books on my Kindle actually to fall asleep every night for however long it took to read the 3 books. But I just felt like so connected to the story and to Carolyn, and then I would go to the house, and my favorite parts weren't like, oh, scary stuff at night. It was the morning hours and the morning light, just envisioning Carolyn with her morning cup of coffee. And I don't know, it felt like I went down to the river where, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, where it sort of convinced Roger to be on board with getting the house.
Yes.
And I almost cried. It was so beautiful. I was like, I don't blame him. And every time I go there, and I was there with Tim, and I was like, oh, you guys want to see the river? This is where this happened. It was just, I don't know.
And there's kind of a little dam area to the right of the bridge. My father built that for a swimming hole for us. That's still there all these years later. It's still there.
I'm going to wear my boots next time and make sure I can find it.
It's so awesome, to go swimming there, and you can just feel the rainbow trout just brushing past you. And it's an absolutely magical place to be. It really is. And it was a great escape if things were weird in the house. It was a great, I'm going to go down to the river for a little while. I'm going fishing, I think that's where that phrase originated. Going fishing. Um, but I, I, I know that you were touched by the time that we spent there because I was watching you. I was in the same room with you almost the whole time that Cody and Satori were doing their spirit connection. And you were in the room when the spirits came through and told me that they missed my family or they missed our family. Um, I felt like a blubbering idiot. I mean, I just wanted to sob. I don't know how I kept it together. I was so touched by that. That really, it took everything I had not to make a fool of myself. I really had to fight to keep it in because I miss them too. I miss them too. It's always so wonderful to be able to go back, always so wonderful to be able to have those experiences over and over again. And, just to have a sense of their presence and to know that they are still there to interact. It is so lovely. And of course, then my sister busted through later on in the evening when we were upstairs. And that was very special for me, very important for me. She validated something that I knew she had done. I knew it was her. But, for her to fess up to it through them was pretty remarkable. We work in a fascinating field of discovery and exploration, my dear. Has it really gotten a hold of you? Do you think that you'll just always do this?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not about, views or follows or it's it's like I need to know and I need to feel connected to this, and I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, do you feel like you have abilities? Because I feel that you do, but it doesn't matter what I feel or what I think. It matters what you feel and what you think. Do you think that, and I'll tell you why I think that in a minute, but the question really for you is, do you feel that you have abilities and do you feel that they help you in your investigative work?
So growing up, it's sort of, we joke around in our family that the women in my family are a little psychic. It's not something I've ever pursued professionally or anything. I don't go around claiming, oh, I'm a psychic or anything. Mm-hmm. But it was just weird things. I would just have a random thought pop in my head, and then it would happen. It would come true, and I sort of was like, huh. And I share it with my mom, who was the one who saved our lives by having that almost like a premonition. Yeah.
Yep.
You're gonna say that. But it's funny, after you did the third eye ritual, mm-hmm. I swear, and I'm not making this up, it feels like I'm seeing more things out of the corner of my eye. Mm-hmm. And
that's only because you are.
Yeah, no, I was like, okay, that's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
I work at a hospital, and sometimes I creep out my coworkers, and I don't know. And then today there was a couple of things that I thought of, and they happened today, and I was like, it's because I'm going to talk to Andrea tonight. I was like, she did this. So, yeah, I think I have some ability. I think it was definitely suppressed by, obviously I told you a little bit of my story. There's a lot of trauma in my childhood. So there's memory loss there involved, and I definitely suppressed things, and I hope that I can be more open to it, because I definitely am. But I can definitely, when I'm investigating, I can tell how it's going to go by when you walk in. There's some times where I would walk into the Lizzie Borden house, and it was just or certain rooms where it felt dark, or it felt I'd walk by. There was one time I went with someone I didn't know very well, and we were there on we went to the room where Andrew Borden was murdered. And I could just tell that he was there. And this woman really wanted to pose with like the axe and everything. And I was like, I don't think this is a good time. I was like, he's here right now. I don't think this is a good time. And I just felt it so strongly. She never stopped being mad at me for that. Cause I was just like, please, maybe in the morning. But this feels like this is his room. He died here, but he also lived here. He is here trying to mind his own business. And if you feel like an angry presence, it's because he's angry that people are there. But a lot of times since I went back after that, I would go alone. And every time I'd walk through the parlor, I'd say, "Oh, pardon me, Mr. Borden, just passing through." Just, like, I mean, I probably look like a crazy person, but I feel like I can tell how it's going to go. Sort of like at Maplecroft, it felt very warm. I was like, okay, this is a very warm place. So yeah, I definitely have intuition, if that answers your question.
Yes.
But
Well,
I don't mean to ramble.
I think all people do. Women develop it much more than men do in general. There are exceptions to that rule, of course. But I find generally that women are more in tune with our emotions, with our instincts, our intuition, our that ancient part of us that we're more in tune with. I've always assumed that the reason that most children live to adulthood is because their mothers have two eyes in the back of their head and a third eye that's watching for everything. So, and in that respect, that doesn't make any of us unusual. But when we project those abilities into the realm of spirit to communicate, I think it's when we have a heightened awareness of our own abilities. And the reason that I said earlier that I think that you possess these abilities is because 3 reasons. I felt it when I did your third eye. I felt it, the pineal gland. I felt it. I just felt it in your physical, your vibe. Also, I knew enough about you to know that you had experiences as a very young person and that you had also experienced trauma. And very often, people who have that odd combination of things happen to them and survive it, because, not all people survive trauma. It opens you in unique and remarkable ways. It is a blessing and a curse, simultaneously functioning in our psyche in a way that opens us that others do not or won't allow, I guess. And so that, that combination of your history and what you are drawn to and what you are researching, it all seems to culminate in terms of your personality and in terms of your openness to the possibilities that exist out there, because I perceive you to be a very, a highly, you have a very fine intellect. You have total mastery of the language. You are extremely well educated. You are very well spoken. You have a presence. You have a presence that is remarkable and that you can't fail to notice. So you take all of those elements, all of those qualities, and you put them together. You have created the perfect platform to disseminate your message in a way that can reach an awful lot of people, and in a way that I think certainly to some extent, if not entirely, vindicates and validates Lizzie Borden. And what a remarkable thing. In the same way that it is truly extraordinary and phenomenal to watch Cody and Satori do what they do. What I would like to see is you do a session with Cody and Satori to see if you can't contact Mr. Borden and see
I would love that.
if he could perhaps even name an assailant. Because then, historically, you could trace back. And if he names someone that happened to be lurking around the neighborhood and had a bone to pick with him, then this is a mystery solved, and you could move on to the next one.
I do feel like I do feel a need to move on. I hope that, I mean, honestly, I've been there 7 times, but out of absolute respect, I have not asked. Because with like paranormal devices and everything, you don't know if you're getting the right answer. I've gotten answers before, but it's like, unless I hear their actual voice saying it and I know it's actually them, you don't know. I did hear him talk once though. Did I tell you this story?
No.
I was there and I had my voice recorder and I was in Lizzie's old room. I do call her Lizzie when she was Lizzie. But I was in there and I felt Mr. Borden's presence in the next room, which was his room. And the people I was there with, they wanted me to ask about Lizzie, but I was like, I feel like we need to talk to Mr. Borden. So I said, is Mr. Borden here with me tonight? And I played back the recorder and it was actually pretty loud. And it said, is Mr. Borden here with me tonight? So it's like he heard it twice from the other room out loud. He goes, yes. So I know what he sounds like if I ever heard him again. But it was so funny. Like he was like a cranky Yankee, you know, he's like, yes, like I'm over here. Like, yes. I didn't actually get that in the recorder. It was videoed, which is very cool. But
yeah,
I just thought it was funny. Like a typical Yankee, you know. Yes.
I'm sure as interested as Cody and Satori are about the historical significance of not only the Lizzie Borden house, but the farmhouse, etc., that they would be absolutely happy to help you solve. I mean, it's not really a dilemma for anybody. You know, so much time has passed. It's everybody that was involved is long gone, but it's a curiosity and it's an unsolved mystery. And I think they'd be thrilled to be able to help solve the mystery. I really do. I'll ask them. Okay.
Thank you. I was going to say like newest.
Yes, I'll ask them. I'm asking them live on A World Awakening, and they're probably watching. And
Text.
Every Friday night that they are available, they watch the show. So, but I mean, really, what a thing, you know, to be able to do what they do and to actually make, you know, direct contact with the spirit. No promises that they would be able to, but they have their system, their method has not failed, to my knowledge, not once. And it doesn't seem to matter where they are when they're doing it. I mean, we did a session with them in my hotel suite, and someone came through for everybody in the room from, you know, all over.
I'm so jealous because the first time I saw them in action, there was a lot of people there and a lot of people were coming through. And I sort of was like, Dad, if you're here, can you come through? So I have like, you were saying that not everyone survives the trauma. One of my brothers didn't survive the trauma that he grew up with. So another thing we have in common, unfortunately. But yeah, so there's a lot of people on the other side. I would love for them to come through too. If we can't get Mr. Borden, they can, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, honey, I know. And yet, look at you, so full of love and light and laughter. And I know, believe me when I tell you, I understand loss. And that's another thing that we have in common. And it's hard. It's part of the reason why I want to know. I mean, when April, she's such an Aries, she really is. And yet, she showed some personal restraint earlier in the evening, and let Abigail Arnold come through instead. And that was really good because April really could have just shoved her way right in. She's done it many times in different ways. So I'm glad that we had a smaller group when she did, so that I felt comfortable with the people I was with when that happened. But I don't know if I told you the story. Did I tell you the story when she came through and she said, Christine, Christmas, bag, toys? Remember the whole thing she did toward the end? We have it all recorded, but she was basically letting me know that the first Christmas that after my sister died, we had an incident at Christine's house where we were all gathered for Christmas, where April's dog, Sammy's toys all disappeared. Chris had a whole big blue bag of toys for him for Christmas, and we could not find them. Christmas morning, they were gone. They were just gone. And we had pulled everything out from under the tree and gotten together it was pre-COVID. Nobody even imagined that yet. And we all went and had our big, big, huge family get together on Christmas Day. And when we came home, there was a single bag under the Christmas tree. And Christine sat in a recliner and she looked under the tree and she's like, what's under the tree? We got everything. We took everything. And I said, I don't know. And she got up, she crawled up under it and pulled out one of her decorative Christmas bags that she had not even put out that year because nobody felt all that much like decorating. We missed April. It was really hard. And there were all the damn dog toys down in the bottom of a decorative bag that had to have been taken out of a box where they were stored. And all the tissue paper my father had taken off of his gift bag that morning and thrown into the trash barrel next to the desk where he was sitting. All of that was missing off the trash and had been put in, just thrown in the top of the gift bag. And it was because we all looked at each other and we said, April, because April and Sammy absolutely adore each other. And she wanted to give him a Christmas gift. So she took the gifts that Christine got for him and gave them to her little dog herself. And it was so precious. And she admitted it. She admitted it. All the words that we spelled out, everything that she said, it was her. And I can't tell you, just to see the look on my mother's face when I told her what happened, was priceless. Absolutely priceless. And she just looked at me and she had tears in her eyes and she said, I knew it was her. Yes, it was. And she has now admitted it. And what an incredible thing. You see, every step forward that we make in this field, every little bit of progress that we make brings comfort and joy to someone. And that's the most important reason to keep searching, even if we never discover the unknown answers to the mysteries of life and death. It's worth the pursuit.
It's like sort of related, but part of the reason it's like people, when you have followers and everything, people assume certain things about you. But my main reason why I keep consistently telling stories and everything is I have a few commenters who are be like, oh, I listen to these when I fall asleep. These make me happy. These make me feel less anxious. And I'm like, okay, there's like 4 people still watching, so I'm just going to keep going. But yeah, so like that's what it's all about, I feel like. But.
It is. It's Rise Up Paranormal, Ken DaCosta. I don't know who came up with the phrase, but their motto for Rise Up Paranormal is making the world safe for ghosts, one human at a time. I love it.
I'm always telling people,
I love it.
Spirits are people. Please treat them like people, please.
Yeah. Spirits are people too. Yeah, and who can blame them? You know, when someone comes in and agitates and provokes and, you know, curses at them or yells at them or just tries to intimidate them. You know, what is wrong with you people? You know, why would anybody presume to behave that way in such an environment? You know, and how conducive to communication do you think that behavior is? It's absurd. It's absurd. I've seen some things.
It's like they want to get a reaction for views or whatnot. It's like,
yeah,
it's not what you actually want, though. You want to, well, I guess some people want that, but I want to communicate. I want to have a conversation. Yeah. I always ask, you know, if they need me to tell anyone anything. I've had a couple investigations where there were some other people there for whatever reason, and there were some times when they would go away and I'd feel the need to apologize to the Bordens, like, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry about their behavior. Please don't associate me with that. I'm really sorry.
You know, and we have no control over other people. We have no, I don't know. It's just, it makes me crazy because I want adults to act like adults. I don't think that's too much to ask. And in a setting like that, if you're going to bring a youngster in, I would expect the youngster to act like an adult too. There's, you know, youth is not an excuse for acting stupid. It's just not. You know, I would assume that anybody that goes to investigate the farm has some familiarity with the story, has some familiarity with the field, with the genre, has probably watched a boatload of shows, which isn't necessarily a good thing. It's just not, because sometimes they learn the wrong lessons that way, you know.
I didn't watch any paranormal shows growing up because I was sitting there as a young lass, and I was like, it's just a bunch of dudes yelling at things in the dark. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It just felt, I don't know, just disrespectful. And obviously there wasn't like a lot of female representation or anything. And I was like, but it's funny when you get females investigators, they have, a lot of them tend to have a more gentle approach and they get better responses.
Yes. And that's, you know, we're 52% of the population. We should have 52% representation on these broadcasts. In a perfect world, in a fair universe where, you know, equity matters. And we're also the ones that do the bulk of the legwork. You know, we're the foot soldiers, the paranormal, and the guys have all the shows and, you know, they're bright lights in Hollywood, whatever. I'm just so not impressed. I'm not. And, you know, some of them are really, really good guys. Some of them I know very, very well. And then there are some that are egomaniacal jerks. And I, you know, can like them from a safe distance, say the other side of the universe. And, you know, so that's good when we're at the really, really big events and it's like, oh yeah, hey, you, bye. Anyway, it's, yeah. there's got to be balance. And I believe that the sensibilities that women bring to this field are perfectly suited for investigation. I guess that's the best way to put it. And you probably heard, if you haven't, let me tell you that I would say 75 or 80% of the shows that I do on A World Awakening are with women. Because as a woman who has some background in this and who has attained a certain level of being recognizable, I don't like the word notoriety. It's I will never be a celebrity. I think that's all such bullshit. I'm just so like, nah. But I have some standing in the community that allows me to promote other women and what you're doing. And it's my privilege and my pleasure. And I think part of my job, part of my mission, because if I'm graced with having this kind of a platform and working with, that nut job Bill, and, putting this show together every week, I just love that man. And he's like one of the best feminists I've ever met, ever. He really is. We do this, and my previous producer too, Tony Rathman, also very, very much promotes women. Ken DaCosta very much promotes women in this field, and provides platforms for up and coming women in the field who would kind of be lost otherwise. So it's our job to lift each other up. And it's not reverse sexism. It's just that we've been discounted for so long as having nothing of any real value to contribute to this, that it's our turn now. And it's my opportunity to provide the platform, the forum, for young women like you who we will just pass the torch to. It's just a matter of time before it's your turn. And so to watch you and Satori and a number of other young women that I've worked with in the field, my friend Erin, just grow and burgeon and blossom into these really astounding investigators that are coming up with all kinds of magical, marvelous material that's never been discovered before is so great for me. And I don't even have to be the one to do it. All I have to do is just say, click this link and then tell the whole world about what you're doing. Okay, here you go. So what do you think about the future of the field, my dear?
I mean, when I talk to you, it sounds so promising. But I can't help but wonder if more women were brought into the equation, if they're not that it's all about evidence or anything, but if there might be more compelling evidence. Mm-hmm. They have these shows that it's like, oh, well, maybe the door opened by itself. Did it? But I find when there is a show with a woman there, it seems like, and I'm just going to say, so there's one show I do enjoy, Kindred Spirits, and Amy Bruni, she'll do a lot of research, and I very much try to model my investigative habits in her way, like do a ton of research, make sure you don't disrespect any spirits, make sure you know what to talk about, and you can get compelling evidence that way. I just wonder if more women were brought into the equation, if they might get what they're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we shouldn't have to wonder about that. We shouldn't have to wonder about that. We should be just as active and just as represented as the men who very often think that, they're masters of their domain. Well, we are the mistresses of this domain. We are. Step side, boys. Step side.
Well, it's like almost like some of these shows are modeled around, or I'm so tough. Like, this is so
Yeah, it's
scary.
macho
And then it's
bullshit,
like, yeah. And then it's like women come and we're like, we're not afraid. Like,
Mhm.
like I don't think some of them like that we're not afraid because it doesn't make it look as macho. But
I have a very good friend who reached out to me the other night, and one of our mutual friends had reached out and said, all of this great stuff has been happening for me. And, I did the third eye with her sometime in May. And a lot of things have really opened up for her, and all of her great gifts are bubbling to the surface. And she's been at this for decades, but suddenly there's just an enormous amount that's coming through her readings. It's been extraordinarily accurate. And she's starting to just build some confidence. And one of the men that she works with just routinely takes her off at the knees, tells her it's her imagination, that, all bizarre. And it's because she now has gone from being, one of the background players to having a different kind of a presence, and it's a threat. And one of the things that women have been dealing with since time in memoriam are male egos. And, if you stomp on them hard enough, they do squash. No, I found that out at my last Paracon.
I'm really sad I wasn't there.
I am too.
But I have no money. I'm getting married.
I'll call you.
I'm getting married in a month. I don't have any money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, call me.
I'll fill you in on all the details. You will laugh and laugh and laugh. No, I'm very proud of you. I am. I'm very proud of you. And I think that you are, it makes me comfortable to know that you and several others like you, mature, prepared, level-headed, pragmatic, thoughtful, deliberate, sensitive, that you and several other women are perfectly prepared to take the torch and run with it. I'm not giving up the fire quite yet, but it won't be long. It won't be long. I'm feeling every minute of my age lately. It's been a busy year. It's been a very busy year. But this is, there are very few things, as far as I'm concerned, that are as important to humanity as, answering at least that question. For myself, it has been answered. I know there's something beyond our mortal existence. I still don't know exactly what it is, how it works, how it communicates, how it gets around. There's 1,000 different things that I would love to ask and get legitimate answers for. And there have been times, Cody and Satori will tell you, there have been times when they've asked questions that they've been told, we can't tell you. I get that. But I want to know how it works. More than anything, I want to know how it works. And we might not know that while we're on this side. We might never know. The mysteries of life and death will remain unsolved. That's highly likely. And perhaps it's supposed to be that way because it's in the search that we learn and we grow spiritually in the endeavor. And so that might be how it works. What do you think?
No, that sounds right.
No, you can't just say that sounds right.
Yeah. I'll
No,
just
I know you have
I'll
more
just
thoughts on
co-sign that.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Have you ever thought of? No, I think you have thought of it. I'm just gonna say it. So sometimes at the farm, did it ever feel like everyone was sort of existing there at the same time?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It felt really crowded. There were times that it felt really crowded.
I feel like I remember reading something about, I believe it was you saw like a family just eating dinner and they like looked up at you like, what?
Yeah, no, that was my mom.
Did that happen? That was your mom. Okay.
Yeah, that was actually my mother's great epiphany. That was the incident that helped usher her back to us after the seance had gone so horribly wrong. And she was really shut down and she was sleeping a lot and she'd had a very severe concussion and,
Oh, wow.
she was healing, from the seance when she was tossed across the room and landed, basically on her back and her head. That was awful. It was beyond awful. There are no words to describe how terrible it was, But that was the night that she saw a whole family sitting in what we called the dining room, which was where we were, the room with the double doors and the corner hutch. And we had a big dining room table in there, and she just looked up and it wasn't our table anymore. It was a long hand-hewn oak table with two benches on either side of it. And there were two men sitting on one side and a woman cooking over the fireplace that was open and raging and children running around. And she was telling them to take their seats. And one of the guys looked into the parlor. My mom was on the hearthstone and he looked at her and then he nudged the man beside him and pointed her out, and she was the ghost. So she was looking into the past while they were simultaneously gazing at her in the future. And that was the moment that it made sense for her. And from that point on, she always insisted that that our actual reality is multidimensional, that we exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, because that was the only way that they would be able to make that cross to see her when she did not even exist during their lifetimes. And it was one of those moments for her, but it's also what made sense scientifically, that the only plausible explanation is that multiple timelines and multiple dimensions exist simultaneously. And so she's run with that ever since. That's what makes sense. That's what we're going with. Now I'm okay. It's all going to be okay. Yeah, that was a real revelation for my mom.
Can I tell you a weird story?
Sure.
So,
and a few thousand of my closest friends too. They eavesdrop. They do. Every Friday night they do.
The first time I was at the house, I was in the basement and so I volunteered to go down by myself because I'm crazy, but I was like, no, I'm here for the experience. And someone came down literally they were like, anyone want to go down by themselves? And I was like, I volunteer tribute Hunger Games style. But I was terrified actually, but I was down there and someone came to come get me, and we sort of had like a little conversation, and maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute went by. We went upstairs And the looks on everyone's faces were like, are you okay? And we're like, what are you talking about? And they said they went down the stairs to look for us and we weren't there. They thought that we had gone up the other set of stairs. We were not there. They said there was at least 5 minutes. And we're like, we just discussed what happened real quick and went upstairs. It was, I don't know. I feel like I don't tell the story very often because I feel like it sounds not real, but.
Well, isn't that interesting? That's the third time in the last year I've heard about people having lost time or being missing when they were supposed to be on the premises at the farmhouse.
Is that
Isn't
like
that very
akin
strange?
to the bubble?
Yeah. Yeah.
It was almost like, where did we go? You know?
Yeah.
Strange.
Well, and that's the thing too about the farmhouses, because not only is it very active in terms of spirit, it's also very active in terms of extraterrestrial activity. Very busy. Really remarkable. Really remarkable. And you just don't know. I think it's, I've had this discussion with John Tenney about something that he saw years and years ago, an experience that he had. And the first time I heard him tell the story, I was on stage with him and he told the story, and I turned and I said, I don't think that was a ghost, John. I think that was an extraterrestrial. And he just looked at me and he said, I think you're right. No, there are big changes that are happening in terms of our perceptions. I think in some ways we're awakening to our old reality, but we're looking at it with new eyes. It's not a new reality. Nothing about our reality has changed. We're just seeing it differently. We're seeing it in a more expansive way. In my opinion, a lot of people are making great leaps and bounds spiritually, and it's sad, but COVID had a lot to do with it. Gave people a lot of time to reflect, gave people a lot of time to insulate and isolate and assess their lives and grieve their loved ones lost to this pandemic and deal with the issues that they probably just ignored, skirted around for decades of their lives. And it caused a lot to come to the surface. A lot. Let me take a moment. Bill, if you would, keep an eye, you and Lenny, Amanda, there are some who do not want to link paranormal, cryptids, interdimensional ETs, etc. Do you think they could be connected, Bill? Yeah, that's Bill. That's what we're talking about right now. It all falls under the same umbrella. It's all paranormal. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, darling, just put them up and we'll finish our thoughts on this. Are you on the same page with me with this? I have always said if Bigfoot exists, it's an interdimensional creature, or otherwise we would have found a carcass by now. That it's a being that is capable of coming and going, that makes its presence known and then leaves, and probably comes and goes from the planet in a way where there's that 1 in a million sighting, because they know where to go to maintain their anonymity and enjoy the forests, and yet not have to interact with humans except very occasionally and by surprise.
That is a very interesting thought, and it's strange how it's like people will think that those creatures don't exist, or extraterrestrials don't exist, but it's like they're more likely to exist than spirits in a lot of sense. But people are more readily able to accept the existence of spirits.
Yeah, and I don't get
yeah.
that.
It's just weird because like the universe is ginormous. There's no way we're the only ones here.
Yeah, there's no way. And there's no way we're the smartest ones. There's no way we're the most technologically advanced ones. You know, we're all babes lost in the woods on this planet. We never learned a damn thing. We make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again, which is the sheer definition of stupidity. Oh, God, don't get me going. Okay, is there anybody out there that has any questions for Miss Amanda? Because otherwise I'm going to hop up on my soapbox and start talking about how we don't even deserve this planet. And they listen to this week in and week out. God bless them. They're so tolerant, so patient with me. Yeah, so patient. I have this really, really great audience of people who I adore, and now they adore you. I'm sure they do. Okay. Oh, there we go. I could not begin to pronounce that name, darling. Echoit. Okay, Echoit. I don't want to slaughter your name. Andrea, in one of your interviews, you mentioned you encountered a group of people who examined you to fix your body. Was it happen at the farm? No, it did not happen at the farm. It happened in this house. And I did not leave. It was right next door here in my bedroom that happened. And yeah, it was, no, I did not leave. And I told them that they are welcome to come and, fix me up anytime that they want, but they're not allowed to scare my little dinky dog, because we've had several issues where she has seen things in the house that were not visible to the naked eye, and the poor little thing just completely, utterly freaked out. But she doesn't freak out when it's spirit. She only freaks out when it's extraterrestrials. And I don't know, it's hard for her. She's very protective of me, and she doesn't want anything to happen to me. So they've figured out some better ways. I've had COVID twice in the last 10 or 11 weeks. And, it really took a toll on me both times. The second time, not so bad, because I picked it up in Scotland, and it was a milder variant than what we've got going over here right now. But still, it kicked my ass. And I had a couple of incidents recently in the last couple of weeks where I was laying in bed and just, listening to the news, giving peanut butter cup a body rub and just hanging out in the evening. And all of a sudden, I felt a very strange vibration. And it wasn't the bed, it was me. I was the one that had the vibration. And it started very slowly. It started with a download, both ears. And then it spread through my body, and my whole entire body, the whole frequency of my body just was resonating at a higher level. It was fluctuating in ways that it never has before, like nothing I have ever felt before. And there was nothing painful about it. It was absolutely delightful. It was wonderful. But it wasn't the bed that was vibrating. It was me. And then, it rose to a crescendo, and then it slowly came back down. And then it just dissipated like, well, your treatment is over. And everything is energy. Everything is vibration. Everything is, Nikola Tesla was, I think, absolutely right about that. Everything is vibration. And I don't know what it had to do with healing me or making me feel better or, aligning my chakras or like whatever. Oh God, what's Bill saying? Well, I need to come on because you freaked me out. Oh, bless his heart. Yes, Bill, come on. Don't be afraid. How many times have I told you not to be afraid?
But you just freaked me out because I was discussing this in the house 2 nights ago. I had an experience where I felt like I was healed overnight for something. I
Go
felt
ahead.
like way better. I can't explain it. That was going to ask this question to both of you. If you ever had that kind of experience, and here you go, just like saying, and I was
Twice.
just,
It happened twice in 2 weeks.
I was like sick. I felt sick.
Yeah.
And the next day I woke up and it was kind of a weird experience because I felt like something happened that night and I felt 100% different.
Good.
So,
Good.
because you know what, they're in the community, and I can tell you it's happening in the UFO community because you know I'm more into that aspect.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of infighting going on. To be honest, there's a lot of stuff going on that's not good. But they also refuse to. Some of them refuse to cross over that Bigfoot could be related unless it's cited with it. Like there's a sighting that correlates with a Bigfoot sighting with an unidentified craft. It's almost like they refuse to even touch the possibilities that we don't know exactly what we're dealing with.
Right.
It could be coming from any source.
Yeah.
It could be divine. It can be extraterrestrial. It could be cryptid, using portals, whatever. But I think there's a connection with all of this going on.
Yes.
I also, this is just my own personal opinion, I do believe that sometimes we go over into another dimension and there's like a rift. And maybe the things we hear or see, the shadows and all that, is something coming overlapping our time and space.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and that would explain Amanda's absence in the cellar at the farmhouse when everybody went down to find her and she wasn't there, and there she was.
Exactly. So we have to be open-minded for all the possibilities out there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think narrowly like, oh, it has to be this.
No, of course not, because we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Those are the three most honest, authentic words that anyone can use in this field. And they should use them liberally, especially when it's the truth. When I don't know is the only correct answer, then say so. It is not a blight on your character. It does not make you weak. It does not make you uninformed. You know, we are seekers and we are seers, and we are searching for what the future holds in terms of the evidence that will be revealed to us. And then how do we compile it, collate it, integrate it, figure out what relates to what? I mean, it's a very, very complicated thing. But, you know, Bill, I don't know if you know this, but I had an incident several years ago. Remember we had Chase Klutsky on the show, and remarkable woman. And I was supposed to meet her. I was with Craig Campobasso from California. We were out at Starworks Symposium, and she was with an associate, and they walked into the Horseshoe Bar at the Aquarius Resort and Casino, and we were 5 minutes behind them. Well, 5 minutes behind them. We finished our cigarettes. We watched where they walked in, and we went right in behind them, and they were not there. And we waited for 2 hours till 2:00 in the morning. And the next morning they approached us and said, "Why didn't you ever come to the bar? We waited until 2:00 in the morning." And I said, "We were there until 2:00 in the morning waiting for you. We thought you went out on the river walk. You know, the big river goes right behind the place." And we were all supposedly in the same place at the same time. And neither of us could, you know, the two of us could not see them. They could not see us. And this was a bar that was empty and seats maybe 50 people.
Wow.
There was no way we could have missed them. It's all wide open. And then there's glass windows and then the river walk. There was no way we could have missed them. They were in an alternate dimension, or they were, off planet for a little while.
I wonder. So I also think that certain individuals are targeted.
Oh yeah, yeah. Although I don't like to use the word targeted.
I know, but I know,
really.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I
Chosen.
mean. It's chosen. Yeah,
Yes.
That's the one. There you go.
Yes.
Chosen. So this, like I said, I cannot personally. I've had, me. I've got a lot of experiences myself. But I always am curious when I go to a location to see if I get any vibes going on, because I've had voices say my name in the middle of nowhere on recording, but not hearing it. And things happen in the house. I could go on and on, but I want to see not just the location, but being in the energy with everyone else.
Yes. Well, that's what was so great about being at the farm with Amanda and with Tim and with Jacqueline and Cody and Satori. I felt so blessed to be there with Ken and Julie and Dawn. I mean, there were only about like 9 or 10 of us, but the energy that night in that room was sublime. It was so great. And Amanda, I know exactly what kind of person you are based on one thing that you said to me. One thing. I did not know. I was so immersed in the moment. I didn't even realize that you were filming the entire thing that transpired that night. And you said to me afterwards that you would not release it publicly, that you considered it personal. And that tells me everything I need to know about you.
I still got to figure out how to send it to you, but it keeps saying it's too long of a video.
I could actually help you with that.
Okay. That'd be great. Yeah.
Bill will take care of
I'm an
that
old soul,
for you.
so I don't, not go technology.
I know. So technology, nah.
But like I said earlier, I can't wait to meet both of you.
It's going to be marvelous. You'll love her energy, Bill. It's just beautiful. And her aura. Can't really see your aura tonight because of your background.
She's
in
glowing.
person.
She's
yes,
glowing. You
I can see her aura in person much more clearly. I do much better with that in person than I do over, this kind of a platform anyway. But you will absolutely love her. Oh, and I believe Jacqueline has just put up the new website, and everybody's getting rave reviews.
Cool.
She doesn't. Jacqueline doesn't do anything halfway. Nothing halfway.
She seems like a sweetheart, so I can't wait to meet her as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got about 20 minutes, so I'll bid adieu so you guys can.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Has anything come through?
I've been blabbering my mouth, so
you don't even know. Okay.
Yeah, I know there was one. What was your? This is from Andreas. Andreas, he's in, I think, somewhere in Europe.
Okay.
He says, Andrea, what was your scariest moment at the farm?
Oh, hands down, no competition. The night of the seance, when I thought I saw my mom die. That was the most traumatic event of my entire life, which is a life that has had a number of traumatic events occur. But nothing like that, nothing ever like that. It's why I am averse to having anything to do with the practicing of the dark arts, because I think that you're just begging for trouble, that it's just begging for disaster, and it's opening up a door that you might not be able to close again. I don't believe, I think that spirituality, spiritualism, seance, the word seance means communing with the spirits. So whenever, like if Amanda is at the Lizzie Borden house and she's asking to speak with Andrew Borden, she is in seance with Andrew Borden. And even if he does not respond to her, it doesn't mean he doesn't hear her. And that's been my experience, through all of my encounters over the course of my life. But we forget that, it's not incumbent upon them to knock on our door. If we want to communicate with spirit, if we want to communicate with our brethren, our star brothers and sisters, it's fine to initiate that. We have all the wherewithal that we need, if we're not afraid, to initiate those conversations and then see what comes from there. And that's what I admire about Amanda, because she's pretty damn fearless. She's a badass woman. I recognize one of my own.
Andreas is, by the way, he's from Stockholm, Sweden. We do have another question. I'm going to put it up. It's from Athena.
Awesome. Sweden, what a beautiful place.
And this could go to both of you. Both of you can respond to this question. Speaking of energy, as an empath, I'm constantly overwhelmed by energies. It feels like a curse and a gift. Is there a way to be not to be so affected by these energies? It's like a cutoff switch.
Athena, what a beautiful, beautiful woman. Yes, there is. But unfortunately, we all have the ability to shut it off if we want to.
Exactly.
We can shut it off if it becomes overwhelming, if it becomes dispiriting, if it becomes painful, especially people who feel tremendous compassion and empathy for others, and particularly animals. And that's my thing with the animals. I just, I can't witness any kind or even hear about any kind of abuse or neglect or worse. I cannot. It levels me. And so I have to shut it off. And when an ASPCA commercial comes on television, nobody
I can't watch
on the remote faster than I do. No one does. I can't.
I can't watch that either.
No. And so, yes, I would say that there is a way to turn it off. It takes practice. I don't bother. I just practice avoidance instead. If I come across any kind of a message or anything that's painful in my, in the stimuli of the world around me, I'll just shut it out, turn it off, tune it out, shut it down, walk away. But when you are an empath to your core, there is really no escape. And that's kind of the bad news, because it is a blessing and a curse, and there is no real escape. You can block it temporarily, but when it is intrinsically and elementally a part of who you are, that would be like asking yourself to escape from your own organism, and you can't. So that's my opinion. Amanda, what do you think?
So I feel like a lot of people who are very empathetic have been through trauma. And I think a lot of people shut down their feelings. They will work constantly, become workaholic, shut down their feelings. But then there's people who, if you're working on your trauma, if you're working on yourself, shadow work, it's better to feel your feelings. Like we have to get rid of the stigma that it's unfortunate, because then a lot of times we feel the feelings of other people, and that's not our feelings, but we're feeling the pain, we're feeling.
Yeah, we absorb it.
But if you shut that off, then you try to be less sensitive. I'm an extremely sensitive person. If I want to cry, I'm literally going to cry. Yeah, I'm just, but it's like, I am in therapy, but something I talk about with my therapist is, she's like, that is who you are. But I'm like, well, I was really upset at work about, whatever. But she's like, that's what makes you a better nurse, because you are empathetic. You feel all the feelings, and it's hard when you have to have that, but it makes you who you are. And I feel like I joke around all the time. I'm like, being sensitive in general, or like I'm sensitive to spirits, but it also means that I'm sensitive in general. Like I've been at the farm before where I literally bawled my eyes out, and I felt a lot better when I like went outside and took a walk. So I'll like say, as an investigator standpoint, like you're saying, avoid, get out of there, like give yourself a minute, whether that's in an investigation or with people. Yeah, it's just like as someone who's very empathetic, I can relate to that, and it's painful, but I'm trying to come to a place where I accept that that is who I am, that is my talent. I will feel the pain, and that's going to have to be okay.
Yeah. It is a blessing and a curse.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left. I'll leave it to both of you. Have a great rest of your time together, and have a great weekend to everybody that's in watching and listening to the show. So I'll see you guys in a few.
Okay.
Thank
Bye,
you.
honey.
Bye. Love you.
I love him. Oh, he's such a sweetheart. Well, the thing is that I wouldn't want to be any other kind of person. I wouldn't want to be cold and hard-hearted. I wouldn't want to be able to flip it off like a switch. I'd rather, back out and run for my life, with tears streaming down my face, because that's more authentic to who I am. It's absolutely consistent with who I have been my whole life. Nothing about that. I never outgrew it, I guess I should say. Always been a bit of a crybaby. I cry at damn dog food commercials. It's like, I used to have a dog that looked just like that. Oh my God, I miss him so much. I can't even help it. Stupid Publix commercials make me cry. A beautiful landscape, a gorgeous piece of music, countless things. Looking up into the sky and having a sighting makes me joyful like a 5-year-old on Christmas morning. And then I'll suddenly start to cry, because it's like this release of this pent up emotion that I feel about, I feel so blessed. I feel so gifted with their presence in my life. It's been 50 years since I had my first conscious contact. I was 13 and I'm 63. It's been 50 years. The bulk of my life has been spent with a conscious connection with spirit and with our galactic family. And I don't know what the point of correlation and integration is. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel like it exists. That if everything is energy, if everything is consciousness, then everything is one thing, which is existence. And so if we're all tapping into the unified field of consciousness together, then that's why telepathy exists. That's why empathy exists. That's why twins can be on opposite sides of the world and one cuts his finger and the other one feels it. How do you explain that? How do you explain that any other way other than we are all connected? And I think that that's something that I don't want to walk away from, even when it's painful, even when I'm seeing someone else suffer and it causes me to suffer. I don't want that to stop. I don't want to be any other kind of person than I am, if that makes sense, even when it's hard.
It makes complete sense.
That's the only way to put it.
It's like there's been times where I question if I could be able to do my job, because I work in the ER. Like, I've seen
horrible things, I'm sure.
A woman, like, I just actively did CPR and we couldn't save him. And she looked me in the eye and she said, "Thank you for trying to save him." And I went out back and I could not work the rest of the shift. I saw his children, oh my gosh. And some people would say like, oh, maybe that's the point where you switch specialties or anything, but it's just like, I'm going to feel my
No,
feelings,
you're
I'm going to
exactly
feel
the
my
kind of
feelings.
nurse that we need in every ER from coast to coast all over the world. You're exactly what I would want for a nurse if I had to go to the emergency room. Somebody that gives a damn, somebody that
Yeah.
feels your pain, somebody that holds your hand and means it.
And it's like, I know when, like, I can have a patient who's, maybe their numbers aren't great, but people are freaking out, and I'm like, they're going to be fine. Or vice versa. I can look at someone and say they are not fine. And like, it's because I'm emotional. I'm in tune with my emotions. So I have intuition. Like,
Yeah, but that's also that some of that falls into the psychic realm too, my dear. Don't you think?
yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to call yourself a psychic to be a psychic. I'm in the same school of thought with this as Chip Coffey is. Everybody has abilities. It's, to what extent? How have you nurtured them? Have you ignored them your whole life, or have you nurtured and evolved spiritually? And we're all at different places with that. But I think if one of us is capable of being a psychic, if one of us, one human being, is capable of being a medium or psychic or both, or, what's the other one? Clairvoyant, a seer. Then all of us have that, some of that in us, that's part of being human, or or it's part of being a hybrid. And then in that case, maybe not everyone has the same abilities. But who's doing that research? Who's doing the pie charts with, the wedges marked other, when they've already mapped every single strand of DNA on the planet and they can't identify that? Who's doing that research? That's what scientists are for. I'd much rather just be an experiencer and a contactee. It's so exciting, and it's such a revelation. It's momentous every single time it occurs. Every single time. Oh my God. I'll never ever outgrow that joy of seeing something. Oh yeah, Bill, 5 minutes. He always gives me the 5 minutes, and then at 1 minute he pulls out the hook. Did you see all the light just shift behind me in my room? We didn't have a brownout. That was very strange. After the archive goes up, I'm gonna go back and look. What time is it? 1:40. So it'd be like 1:49. I want to see what that was, because I just had a weird light anomaly thing happen in here. So, okay, so we only have 5 minutes left. How can people reach you? How can they reach out to you? How can they communicate with you? How can they get to know you? I have the privilege of knowing you now, but I'm sure that some of my viewers would like to be in contact with you, my dear. How can they do that?
Well, I mostly just post on TikTok and Instagram. You can find me on TikTok at Spooky New England. And then on Instagram is Spooky New England Ghoul. Kind of stuck with the name now, but
I like
it. My website is linked on both of my bios and everything, so you can find me there. But
great. And all of that is attached to the link of the show that will go over into the archives. Now tell me that all your nerves and your jitteriness just went away when you hopped on the show with me, even if you're lying. Okay, good.
Of course. I just whenever we talk, I get this overwhelming, it just this warm feeling, just like in my chest, it just feels very warm. So
Wonderful. It's lovely. You are lovely, absolutely delightful. And, I can't even thank you enough for coming on the show in such short order. I mean, we didn't even set this up until just a few weeks ago. And I usually book months in advance. And I just happened to have this one night and you were free to join me. So I'm so, so grateful to you. And I know that my viewers are thrilled to meet you. And, I just want to leave them all with one thought, and that is advocacy. What Amanda does, what I do, we are advocating for women who are no longer of the earth. We are advocating for souls who perhaps got a very bad rap in life and deserve to have their names cleared and deserve to have some peace in their afterlife. And so basically we do the same thing, which makes us kindred spirits.
I always knew that, though, didn't I?
Yes. And I did too, the moment that we met. Absolutely, the moment that we met. You were wearing that beautiful red velvet gown, and I used to have one almost identical to it when I was about your age.
We were wearing the same shoes.
And we were wearing the same shoes. I know. It's so strange. We're weirdos. We're just weirdos. But yeah, I would encourage our viewers, our listeners, to reach out to you, to watch what you're doing, follow what you're doing, and encourage you along, because you are the future of this field. And I'm so grateful to know that it will be going into such capable hands. So on that note, everybody pray for Ukraine, pray for Zaporizhia, pray for our country, pray for the world that's melting down all around us, and envision a world like you want to see, and put that out in mind with all the emotion that you can muster, and let us, each and every one of us, do our part to heal the world of its woes. I love you all very much. Have a lovely night and a wonderful holiday weekend, and I'll see you again next week. Good night.